What moved you to write the Blackie books?
I wrote instrumental because originally I wrote a piece for The Guardian in England about creativity. It was a piece called "Find What You Love and Let It Kill You," which is a quote from Charles Bukowski, who I love. And my editor read it, and she got in touch with me and said, "Would you write a memoir?" She found out a bit more about me, and we had a few drinks. And I was very young to write a memoir, I think. So initially I thought, this is a bit strange, but then I thought, it's a great opportunity to write a love letter to my son, a love letter to music, which is, you know, the most important thing in the world to me, those two things, my son and music. I wanted to talk about music education and the terrible state of music education in the world, really. It's really bad here and in England. But I also wanted to talk about things, in my own words, that are difficult, the things that need to be talked about more openly and more often. So, you know, child abuse and rape and suicide and mental illness. I think it's really important that people talk more about things like that, because only by doing that will the stigma start to disappear, I think.
So for all those traumatic things that you've suffered during your life, were you afraid when this book was released?
I wasn't afraid. It was very exposing. Sometimes there was a lot of shame because it's a very personal book, of course. But it felt right, because you can't write a memoir and just write about the good things. You have to write about all of it, the ugly things, the difficult things. What I wasn't expecting and what was very scary was the legal battle to get the book published, because it was banned for a while. And it took 18 months and the Supreme Court and €2 million in legal costs to fight to have the book published, because the lawyers said it was too toxic, the material, which I think is crazy. I mean, especially given how much child abuse is in the news here in Spain and all around the world. So that was scary. But we won, and the book is published, and Blackie Books have been amazing. They're a great publisher.
So you've mentioned in your book that music has the power to heal. Yeah. So do you really think that music has this curative and healing properties?
I do. I challenge anyone to say that's not true. I mean, I think we've all, when we've broken up with a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or we've lost a job, or things have got very difficult, we listen to music and we feel better. We listen to music when we're exercising to run faster. We listen to music to get excited. And, you know, it's a great unifier, music, all around the world. Every teenager is obsessed with music. Music and football for teenage boys are the two things, and there's a reason for that. But of course, ultimately, all I have is my own experience, which is that music really it's the only thing that has never let me down. It's consistently always been there, and it always has the same effect. It always changes the way I feel in a good way, and it helps me to feel that things are okay, that we're not alone, that, you know, even if it's a piece of music written 300 years ago, it's still alive today, and the world is a better place because of it.
So Oliver Sacks stated in one of his books that music has the capacity of modulating emotions. Do you agree with him?
Totally agree with him. I mean, of course, we all know that, don't we? I mean, it's really... And the wonderful thing for me about classical music is that you have so many emotions in one piece of music. It's not like one 3-minute song, which is either very happy or very sad. It's maybe 15 minutes, which has everything from desperate sadness to joy and triumph and hope. And music, classical music, it's like a magic trick for me, because even if it's a very sad piece of music, underneath that sadness, there's a sense of joy even, of hope, of redemption. And so yeah, it absolutely, that's why it's so great. It changes the way we feel in the same way as alcohol or drugs or sex, but music is a much healthier way of doing that.
According to your criteria, who is the most outstanding musician or music compositor of all times?
Oof, that's a big question. It's like saying who's the greatest footballer. Would you say Ronaldo or Messi or Gareth Bale? I don't know. For me, I would have to say Beethoven. If I could ever meet one composer from the past, it would be Beethoven. But Because he was such a complete innovator. He took single-handedly, he dragged music from classical music to the Romantic era in music, all by himself. He did he changed the history of music. One man with a terrible story, riddled with abuse, and he was deaf, and he had terrible problems, you know, with anger and with rage, and he changed the world forever. So I think it would always be Beethoven. But of course, what's lovely is that you can discover your favorite composer yourself. You may hate Beethoven, but you might think Bach was the best, or Chopin, or Rachmaninoff. And Rachmaninoff I love so much, I have his name tattooed in my arm in Russian. And he was another innovator. He was another one who felt, at a time when everyone was moving music into new directions of 12-tone music and atonal music, he thought, no, I want big romantic music and wonderful melodies, and he stuck to what he wanted to do, and I think that's a wonderful thing that he did.
And do you think that there is any connection between drugs and creativity?
No, I don't think there is. I think the problem is that when you take those drugs, because I've taken a lot of them, you think you're very creative. But actually it's pretty shit what you do. The amount of times I would take LSD and I would write, and I would think, oh my God, I've written the greatest novel in the world. And then the next morning you look at it and you go, oh no, this is terrible. So no, music for me is a drug, and that's good enough.
So, with no offense, what do you think of your image in this classical music environment?
Well, maybe it's shocking. I mean, my image is just, this is me. I don't, you know, there's no other genre of music in the world where they insist that you wear a certain outfit. Can you imagine saying to Muse, you know, you call up Matt Bellamy and you say, we'd like you to play at the O2 Arena for 4 nights, but we're very sorry, you have to wear a dinner jacket, a tuxedo. And he'd say, no, you're crazy, what are you thinking? I mean, I wear what I'm comfortable in. And I talk to the audience because I think that's important for the musician on stage to include the audience. Because otherwise, you might as well just stay at home listening to Spotify. There's no... A live performance should be exciting. The music mustn't change, but everything else, I think, needs to change. So I wear jeans not because I want to be shocking, just because that's what I'm comfortable wearing. Why would you wear something that you're uncomfortable with? It's not about the performer, it's not about that, it's about the music. It's about saying to the audience, listen, just listen to this, listen to what Bach wrote when he was out of his mind with grief and despair and sadness. Listen to this amazing piece. You're not saying to the audience, do you like what I'm wearing? That's ridiculous. So the image I have on stage is the same as I have here with you, and it's the same as I have when I'm at home having a cup of coffee in the morning.
Have you noticed any difference in your concerts since you published your book? Like how they receive your music?
Not really. I've always been really lucky with the audiences. It doesn't matter. I played 2 weeks ago at Sonar in Barcelona, or I'll play at very established classical music venues as well. It doesn't seem to matter where I play. They're always usually quite young. So many of them have never been to a classical concert before. And they're always just, I mean, they're really wonderful. They're really lovely. So they seem to come to listen to music in an environment that they feel is safe, that people aren't going to tell them to shush if they clap, and they can wear what they want, and they don't need to understand about, you know, sonata form in Beethoven's Vienna. It doesn't matter. They can just come and close their eyes, and the lights go out, and for 1 hour or 90 minutes, they can just relax and listen to music. And that's the only thing that matters to me.
And now the last question is totally personal.
Okay.
How do you feel when you play the piano, and who do you think of when you play it?
So many things. The best concerts, I don't think of anything. I just totally disappear. And I walk on stage and there's maybe 1,000 people, and I get a bit nervous, and then I sit down and I just see 88 keys and a little sign saying Steinway, and I close my eyes and I just disappear. And then suddenly it feels like 30 seconds later, but it's been 1 hour. And those are the best kind of concerts. So I think it's an escape, but it's a wonderful escape. I remove myself as much as possible and just, it's like if you imagine music as this amazing swimming pool and you just dive in and the temperature is perfect and you can just relax and disappear, and that's, I suppose, how I feel if it's going well during a concert.